Night. And the Kiwis waiting patiently for their big moment. As young Antoine leaves the field, the French lined up, ready to face their opponents, brooding menacingly on the halfway line, the Kiwis, but ready for their bit now. Somehow I don't think they're going to be taking this one lightly.
No, they realise the importance of it, and we've been staying in the same hotel as the Kiwis, and I must say they look very focused indeed. They realise the importance of this game against the French side that Bill has already mentioned has gone through their problems this week. But we spoke to their coach, Bobby Goulding. He's still very confident that they will give all their best, and a good crowd has turned out tonight. But I think everybody, after witnessing the display by the Kiwis last week, absolutely superb performance from them.
And there was a lot of passion in that ACCA there. And the French stood tall, they stood proud, and they've got nothing to lose in this game. Don't hold back, Bobby said to him. You've got to go out there, throw the ball around. No one's giving you a chance, you've got nothing to lose.
So the Kiwis will get us underway. Shane Hayne is the referee, as you saw from those team lineups. France dramatically changed from the side that met England last time out. Feriol suspended, Bale, Ragan, Gossard, Casti all injured, as is Gresek, and this week Pello and Greenshields going down with what's believed to be swine flu. And at one stage yesterday evening there was the prospect of the French Department of Health getting involved and quarantining the French team. Thankfully that didn't come to pass. Jamil Fakir with a good run, early run for this French side. They need to get some confidence early on to the French if they're to have any chance of even making this game respectable this evening.
And you could see quite clearly that the New Zealanders, they're out of the blocks very, very quickly, especially 2 or 3 defenders out wide. They're forcing France down the centre.
And a little chip over the top from Bosk, and Sadoui was chasing, but he couldn't get there. And Junior Sau was there to gather for the Kiwis, but the French may be showing their hand there. They're not going to die wondering this evening. They're going to give it their all and maybe chance their arm as well.
Well, we know the quality of the standoff. Thomas Bosk, it was a neat little chip over the top, just didn't get the bounce. But this is where the Kiwis, very strong, like to play the ball quickly, scoot away from that dummy half position.
But wasn't that a real positive start? This is where the big clash has got to be won. Controlling the speed of which the big fellas are playing the ball. 50 yards they made when they had ball in hand, this French side. They need to keep it up for 80 minutes though.
Marshall drifting across the field and then is closed down by Vincent Deporte. The French crowd liking that. Marshall just scrambling forward and just had a little word in his ear from the referee at that. And then the kick, a hurried one. Oh, and coolly done by Nicolas Piquemol, who's making his French debut, a late call-up to this French side. Piquemol, 27 years of age, from the Lesignan club, and brought into the side because of all these injury problems that Bobby Goulding has had to contend with. And Piquemol is a seasoned campaigner, although making his international debut. And then the Kiwis are offside.
Have to be a little bit more controlled in defence, but I think it's quite obvious with this French outfit. There's the big hits. We expect a lot, don't we? Moi, such a strong man. But the French side quite happy to give it plenty of air.
Well, with the hard man Feriol missing, maybe the mantle has fallen to Jamil Fakir to put his weight around for the French. And it's a positive start from this French team. New Zealand can't afford to be slow out of the blocks, and the Kiwis can be prone to that. They can go up and down a bit. They certainly were up last week for that meeting with Australia. What a performance that was. The question is, can they back that up? And they certainly should do that this evening. But it's France on the attack with Thomas Bosc. Bosc to Wynn now. Wynn takes them on himself. The Australian who's lived in France for the last 10 years or so, playing his rugby league. Now here is Thomas Bosc. Bosc gives the ball some air to Olivier Ellimer, the captain, and Ellimer was looking for some support on the inside. It's the last tackle for France, and Teddy Sadoui going for it. They could be in awe, and Piquemol very nearly getting a try on his debut there. Good kick thinking from Teddy Sadoui, putting the little kick in, and for a moment it looked as though the ball was going to sit up in that in-goal area, but Piquemol couldn't get there in time for the French.
Not a bad option, is it, the centre Sadoui? Just a little bit too strong there. Piquemol knew exactly what was happening. Well, Stephen Kearney, the New Zealand coach, won't be happy with that. They were a little bit lax there on that short blind side.
That's a good run from Sam Perrett. Good strength from the winger, and he plays the ball on the 40-metre line, and they're making progress now, the Kiwis, and there goes Steve Matai. It's a big 10 that referee Shane Hayne is giving, and the Kiwis exploiting it with Luluai up the middle. Luluai's ball on the inside to Marshall, and Marshall will get the first try of the night, and having withstood that early French pressure, the Kiwis put it together, and the crowd applauds in admiration, the French, because they know class when they see it, but real progress up the middle of the field there from the Kiwis, and Benji Marshall, the captain, there to finish off and get his 7th try in the colours of the Kiwis.
Just shows you quick play the ball, and he scooted away. Thomas Luluai, calm and collected, knew that his partner, the standoff Benji Marshall, back on the inside. Superb break. He had the numbers, knew he was going to score over. Well, an enterprising start by the home side, France, but the first real opportunity by the black and whites, the Kiwis. They've got the scoreboard working.
This French side have really got to control the speed of the play of the ball. The Kiwis have had one chance and they've scored a try. They've got to get numbers in. They've got to try and slow them down. They won the first 3 tackles, and Benji Marshall just goes in. Jamal Fakir starting really strong, but they've got to keep this performance up.
Well, the previous tackles, I must say, they really just turned them over, tried to turtle them just to slow them down. They know that the Kiwis have got so much speed, but that was excellent work, though, by the hooker, Thomas Luluai.
It's Bryson Goodwin with the goal-kicking duties, winning his 3rd cap this evening. He's already kicked a couple of goals in his international appearances so far. And well, he's dragged that one, and a shake of the head from Goodwin, the Bulldogs player.
And it just shows you very, very slow there. You can see that Matau Griffey, he hadn't even got himself into a position before Luluai spotted the gap. Remember, Thomas Luluai had a tremendous game after they switched him from scrum half to hooker in the World Cup last year. Down in Australia, proved to be a bonus for Stephen Kearney, the coach.
Bosc's restart, almost catching Lance Ahaya out, and then he left it to Nathan Feen. Well, Thomas Luluai, in fact, got a bit of a bang against the Aussies last week and was taken off. Recovered from that well enough. Not so Jeff Lima and Bronson Harrison from their knocks, hence the changes in this Kiwi side. The penalty goes against the French.
Shane Hayne, very, very strong on the fact that he saw previously the French outfit trying to just turtle him, turn him over, slow things down. Not going to be doing that. Now then, watch for the big fellas.
Which one? There's quite a few of them out there in this
13
Kiwi
of them
side.
for the Kiwis.
Go.
Here is Marshall, try scorer, then Nathan Feen. And Fui Moi Moi, but fair dues to the French. They were there to meet him, and Vincent Duport stood his ground.
Well, you've got to stand tall
as well.
Fufu Moi Moi is going to go only one way. That's straight and as hard as he can. He's not going to use any footwork, so that's where you can get a shot on him.
Feen. That ball went, well, it was going forward to start with, then it ricocheted off Adam Blair, so the French pick it up.
Just trying to be a little bit too fancy there, New Zealand. It would be better to just settle things down a little bit. Look how quick they are out of the blocks, though. The French have hardly taken 2 steps, and the black and white jumpers are all over them. Look at that defence.
Oh, Ellimer. took the hit, bounced off it, and the French get the penalty, and a little bit of interference there from Sia Soliola.
Well, I think the man with the whistle has made it quite clear that he wants an open game. Let's get on with it. Let's face it, good crowd here to witness this.
Olivier Hellemer just catches his breath after that encounter with Sia Soliola.
Let's listen.
Here is Fakir. Fakir runs it at them. Had his injury problems in the last couple of years, Jamil Fakir. He's got a bit of catching up to do. Here is Matthew Griffey now. Popular local player. Well, he's moved to Toulouse, Matthew Griffey, this season. He plays the ball. Bentley, try scorer against the English. Bosk, great hands from Bosk. Good defence from the Kiwis.
Pickamole, superb tackle. Came in on the angle, ball and all, and just bounced him straight down. Quick thinking there by Kane Bentley. When you look at this French outfit, you realise Thomas Bosk, James Wynne, Kane Bentley, they've got the quality. It was good work there by Bosk on that short blindside, but what about the tackle? Bang!
Teddy Sadoui felt that and couldn't keep a hold of the ball. But again, the French showing some imagination, trying to unlock this New Zealand defence. Kiwis ahead by 4 points to nil here at Stade Ernest Wallon in Toulouse, home of Toulouse Rugby Union Club. Great little stadium this is as well. Not so little in actual fact. And a good crowd here tonight as well. They like their rugby, whatever code in Toulouse.
Here's 10, hold, go.
Here's Fufu Moi Moi. Left the man on the deck. I think it's Jamil Fakir, is it?
How many times do you see that in Super League? Jamal Fakir get knocked down like that. I've never seen it. Watch this. Fufu Moi Moi gets the ball straight and at Fakir. Bang! Get out the way.
Well, you've got to ask the question, is this legal? Did it hit the chest or did it go up into the face? It's pretty hard to decide there.
That was legal, that, Steve-O. That was just straight and hard.
He's difficult to handle, that's for sure, Mr. Moi Moi.
Injured French players watching on there and possibly marvelling at Fufu Moi Moi.
They're thanking the lucky stars that they are injured, I think, Bill, with that charge by Moi Moi.
Tackle 3.
Well, Jamil Fakir is back on his feet and ready to throw himself into the fray again for the French. Gone for the 40-20, and it could have the prospects here. It has. The touch judge has got his flag up. Constant Filigas got in a terrible tangle trying to keep that ball in play, and when he made contact with it, he was actually out of play.
It was bouncing all over the place. It was very, very difficult indeed, but the touch judge got it absolutely spot on. Watch, his feet's over the line.
He was virtually in the stand.
Yep. Well, this is even more pressure now. Now, don't be surprised if the New Zealanders come up with something from the scrum base. Keep your eye out on this short blind side. They've got Junior Sau.
Max Gresek in the stand there, watching on, another one of the injured players for the French. It's the New Zealanders who have head and feet at the scrum, and here's Marshall, and Marshall is driven back in the tackle, and listen to the cheer from the French crowd there. They like that.
Well, that was good work, wasn't it, by Vackery, the winger. Come right on the angle, could see he was going to be the second phase.
But has that just delayed the inevitable? 10 minutes gone here in Toulouse. New Zealand ahead by 4 points to nil at the moment, but they're looking for more points with Adam Blair.
Here I am.
3 tackles gone.
Hold, go. Yep.
Luluai. Marshall's pass out wide is gathered. They come back in field. They keep the ball alive, the Kiwis. It's with Frank Pritchard now. And again, they're driving in at this French defence. 4 tackles gone, says referee Shane Hayne. Thomas Luluai. Bryson Goodwin was virtually on the whitewash there. Here's Fufu Moi Moi. Barrelling run from the Kiwis number 10, and 3 Frenchmen in there to stop him. Can they survive this set of 6, the French? On the last tackle. Fiends cross-field kick. It's hoisted up for Perrett. Perrett has got it, and Perrett will claim the try. Shane Hayne checks with his touch judges that was all in order. No need to refer to the video ref, and it was delaying the inevitable there. The battering ram was used, but in the end it was the delicate touch of Fien.
Good work as well by the halfback. Gave himself plenty of time, and you can see there that Perry completely outjumps his opposite number. Pinpoint accuracy there by Nathan Fien. And you can see that Nicholas Picamoll went just a touch too early. Mr. Perry didn't. Second try.
You keep going, mate.
In full control.
You keep going.
7th try for the Kiwis for Sam Perrett, and the French just
Thank you.
gathering their thoughts behind their own try line.
That's right. Thank you.
It was always going to be a problem, Bill, in regards to the French having so many out, especially with the big guys in the forwards. And when you take on a pack that the New Zealanders have out there tonight, very difficult to try to stop them getting over the advantage line. And when you've got the quality of Nathan Fien and Benji Marshall, they're controlling things out there. It was a superb kick into the corner. Excellent stuff.
Goodwin now with this conversion attempt. Missed with his first. That one, well, it went in a sort of roundabout route. Looked as though it was setting off to miss, but then hit the target. And Goodwin hits the target. And the New Zealanders 10-0 ahead here.
It's just simple plays in and around the ruck by this Kiwi side. They're taking the ball to him, they're sucking in the French defenders, and then they're going out wide for Perrett to score that try.
Stay onside.
Bosk with the restarts.
Hey, watch his head.
It's 1980, the last time that the French
Here's 10. Hold.
beat the Kiwis. That's how far back you have to go. They've definitely had the upper hand in the meetings since then. 17 Kiwi wins and just the one draw since that game in Perpignan when France won by 6 points to 5 against Mark Graham's side. Really is an uphill battle for this French team. Newcomers to this tournament, making it the Four Nations, and Luluai again causing havoc up the middle of the field. He's lost that ball though, says the referee, as he went to ground.
I think he just tried to force it out, but again we see the importance of playing the ball exceptionally quickly. Thomas Luluai obviously being spoken to by his coach Stephen Kearney. Jump out of the dummy half position as quickly as possible.
He's made 15 metres, mate.
He's certainly enjoyed that position since he was switched for that successful World Cup campaign last year.
Don't worry about him. Just do what I'm telling you.
The one thing that I admire about this New Zealanders against Australia last week, Terry, is that the way that they control their forwards, they share the work. It isn't always just one or two of them doing most of the effort.
They do, Steve. And when you've got a centre like Junior Sau, he made more metres than any other Kiwi player last week. He's a big strike player in the right-hand side for this Kiwi side. They've got speed, they've got power, they've got strength all over the park.
Three, move!
They went looking for Olivier Elmer there, but the French captain withstood the challenge. Bosk maybe not so there. Big hit on him from Frank Paul, the wrecking ball. Frank Paul Nuasala. And Wynne ducks under the challenge there from Frank Pitchard. That's the 5th tackle, and the Kiwis just letting them know they're around, just like they did to the Aussies last week. And what a sight that was, some of those shots at the stoop. People were talking about that long into night. Good kick from the French though.
Oh, look at that hit. Oh, Nuasala did not miss. Would have felt that, Thomas Bosk. Though to be fair to Bosk, he's certainly putting himself about.
Take a shortcut in.
That's the 5th occasion he's taken first receiver, trying to take on. At least when they've got possession, the French are trying to ask a few questions.
And one thing's for sure, when you play against the Kiwi side, if you get a big shot put on you, the next one is going to be even bigger. Look at this French defence.
Hold.
And they've very nearly got Steve Matai over the whitewash there. No lack of commitment from Bobby Goulding's side. Well, you would expect nothing less from a side coached by the fiery little Woodnesian, who has been among the ill contingent within the French camp this week.
Here he goes again. Oh!
And they were offside. Jamil Fakir, credit to him because he's been on the receiving end and he was ready to dish a bit out there, but they were offside. So that's kind of burst the bubble of excitement there.
Well, Mr. Fakir has picked this guy out, Moi, and said, you gave me one earlier. And he just went a touch early.
So,
He came off second best. It's on. Keep your eye out on that.
Well, they can't afford, though, to lose anybody else this evening, the French. They've got Australia to come in Paris next week. Of course, the Kiwis with England on the horizon in Huddersfield.
But what they do need to do is keep coming out the line. The likes of Jamal Fakir, he is a dominator in defence. He needs to be coming out the line, needs to be putting shots on and trying to intimidate the opposition. Don't stand back and wait for them to make the plays.
Now 2 solid drives by the Kiwis now. Will they force a link? No, they've got the blind side.
Luluai on.
Lost it.
Well, it looked very pretty and very intricate, but they went without the ball.
Pritchard just couldn't keep it in.
Pritchard couldn't take it, and a let-off for the French.
And the crowd have got excited. Plenty of noise, trying to lift the national team.
Second. Have it again. Have it again. Take it
Referee
in.
asked them to set that scrum again.
Stay in the scrum.
A little bit shambolic first time round. So it's Win. And the French now will find it difficult to make progress, I'm sure, against this Kiwi team, who are very quickly out of their blocks. And Jamil Fakir finds there are 3 black shirts closing him down very rapidly. Bentley.
Pretty good defence as well. Stephen Kearney, you know, after that game against Australia, was very pleased with their ability to keep Australia down in their own half. The Australians found it difficult to get over the halfway line in their sets of 6. And they were looking for the same tonight.
Bosca's gone for a 40-20. It's a good kick, but it just pinged the wrong way. And Lance Haya got there in time. And they're able to bring it back with Perrett. One of the try scorers so far for New Zealand, who are 10-0 up here in Toulouse. Referee calls held. And Haya continued for a brief second there. Good win on the 40-metre line. 3 tackles gone in this set of 6 for the Kiwis. And here's Luluai, who's Fufu Moiwoi, had just there, has come across the field so far. And gets the ball away to Fien. Fien changes direction, and Luluai again skipping his way up the middle. He's got support. The support is from Pritchard. The little kick ahead, and it's a good race. And Vakari did well to get back there.
He's having a wow of a game, isn't he? Thomas Luluai. He's enjoying this quick play of the ball, scooting away, taking full advantage of the French defence, not really sorting it out. Not a bad kick either by Frank Pritchard. But nothing better than to work on the attack on this left-hand side as we look at that shot.
Vakari had the issue covered. Nicolas Larat in the middle, a shake of the head from the French president. It's not that bad yet for his side. Taz Battieri just sitting down in front of him. From the Rugby League International Federation, European Federation. France in possession.
And they're doing a decent job. They're trying to target Nathan Fien, who's the scrum half for the Kiwi side, the number 7, the only shot. Last week he missed 7 tackles when he played against Australia. Oh, here we go, penalty.
Good work by James Wynn. Realised that the Kiwis just a little bit slow to sort themselves out. So anybody comes across, and it was a swinging arm from Adam Blair as well, but he was offside. Now then, kick into the corner, 2 drives, and let's see what Thomas Bosk can produce with his half-back partner, James Wynn.
And maybe just build a bit of pressure down this end of the park.
Well, they certainly would raise the roof here if the French were to get over the try line. Very committed crowd. How committed are their side? So far, they've shown bags of that. In adversity. Good ball from Bosk to Win, but Luluai was there to make the tackle. France on the 20-metre line. Ball on the inside for Fakir. He does well to offload to Bentley. Bentley, try scorer, last time out against the English. Takes the tackle. Win. And a charge from Martin, and he's over the try line, and they do raise the roof. Sebastian Martin with the try. The Kiwis with their hands on their hips. Wonder how that happened. Well, it happened because Sébastien Martin came storming onto that ball, and the French commitment is rewarded. And Sébastien Martin gets his first try in the colours of France.
Thanks, Clint.
Well, we knew the quality, didn't we, of Thomas Bosc and, of course, Kane Bentley. Back on the inside there by Wynne. And that is to be scored. That's a great effort. Came on the angle, and New Zealand just a touch slow. You could see there that Soliola had moved out of the picture, and by the time it came across, he'd got the ball down. That's a great effort, and much appreciated by the home crowd.
Was there a suspicion that Seb Martin lost his grip on the ball?
No, I think he got it down fair and square.
Okay, good.
Well, the referee Shane Hayne didn't have any doubt about that decision. And Thomas Bosc will try and add the conversion. He's the Catalan Dragons' record point scorer in their history. 688 points in 92 games for the Dragons, Thomas Bosc. He's also kicked 15 goals for France. Looking to add this one to close the gap. And he should do that, a kicker of his calibre.
Yep.
Bosc successful. France 6, New Zealand 10, the scoreline here in Toulouse.
This French side are playing real simple rugby league. Jamal Fakir is having an absolute field there. He's running strong, and if you run strong into the collision, you will get rewarded. Seb Martin just cuts a good line. He uses his footwork, and he just runs over the top of Moi Moi. And this is what this French side need to do. They need to build a bit of self-belief. They've got the try. They're back in the game.
I still think there was a suspicion that ball was dropped, but not so. And that ball was very nearly allowed to go into touch by the French. Fortunately for them, Frédéric Vackery was quick out of his blocks in those red boots, but he's taken a knock as the winger in the background there.
Here's 10. Go.
Well, it was a good try by Martins, and you sort of wonder, as it just really poked the Kiwis in the eye, will they respond very, very quickly? They look to have been having the game in control, and that's lack of concentration, giving away a silly penalty.
Well, we said earlier on that Kiwis are prone maybe to just following up a big performance like they had last week with one maybe at that level.
Well, it was always a problem, and Stephen Kearney was a little bit concerned in regards to.
Yeah, but I still need you to move, mate.
They'd realised all through the week the problems with Flou in this French outfit.
There's no doubt about the injuries, but you wonder whether it's maybe hyped up. It has been hyped up a little bit by the French, just a bit of a smoke screen, maybe to lull the Kiwis into a false sense of security. But this isn't a side of no hopers so far from the French, and Bentley, a good run from him. He took a shot there.
To be fair, they've got some French players that are missing, some real key individuals, but there's certain players in this French side that are really standing tall tonight.
Elima.
Oh, that was high. Swinging high by Soliola, and he didn't miss. It's missed by the official.
Villegas felt that, but it's the French on the attack again. Here is Julien Tuxegas.
Great play by Steve Matai there. Knew exactly Tuxegas was coming through, came on the angle.
On the last, Bosc with a little chip kick ahead. They're all chasing it. They'll get another set of 6, will the French. Good work.
Tremendous work. Beautiful kick by Thomas Bosc. It's all about building your confidence, and they've certainly done that at the French side. And the home fans, remember a few moments ago, there was singing, shouting, trying to get them back into this game. They certainly have done that. This is a superb effort, isn't it? Such quality, skill. Deft little kick over there by the standoff Thomas Bosc.
Kane Bentley busy again. I mentioned he got that try against England last week. Really seemed to lift his game. The New Zealand-born but French-raised Kane Bentley. His brother Andrew on the bench, called into the squad because of all these problems that the French have had. Both of them born in New Zealand, but their dad Andrew came over and played amateur in Oldham in the days of his youth, and then went off to play for La Réole in France, settled there, and the boys were raised in France, and there is Kane Bentley wearing number 9. Julien Rinaldi, another of the players not available for the French this evening. I'd love to have him. Jérôme Guisset, another one of their experienced campaigners, he has also ruled himself out, but Teddy Sadoui Sadawi will find touch, I'm sure. The Kiwis won't let him make progress. He got the ball away, but Luluwai has come up with this.
Great cover defence by New Zealand. Muscling up. Stephen Kearney, the coach, would have get the message out and say, hey, come on, we can't just slacken off here. Get back into the swing of things. Remember, we were praising the fact that the Kiwis are very good at sharing the workload. That's good work by Perrett, but that's great defence.
That was a big hit from Nicolas Picamol, who threw himself into that tackle. He's a chunky figure, this winger from the Lesignan club. Late call up for him.
Bobby Gould will be happy with the fact that early in this game, the French at the play the ball area, the first and second markers who are being caught out, but they're getting there a lot quicker and they're working as a unit. That's great play.
Marshall losing his way there. He's looking to make the link, but he just couldn't find a teammate. Now he's Eastwood off the bench. Greg Eastwood missed the last game with a hamstring injury, so keen to be involved. Eastwood plays the ball. Little chip kick over the top from Feen. Hahaya is onside. The long ball out wide was forward. Perrett was screaming for it. The referee will bring him back.
He doesn't know it.
I think Perrett was looking for the kick. Perrett was pointing downfield. You can't see him, but at the bottom of the shot, Sam Perrett was pointing up the field and urging.
Well, I don't know how he's got a forward pass out of that. The official,
Let's go.
Shane Hayne, has come up with an error there.
Well, if they put the kick in, I'm sure Perrett would have got on the end of that. Let off for the French, maybe.
But what about that for the defensive set by this French side? They restricted New Zealand to 18 yards. Coming off their own line, they kicked it into the corner, they condensed the defence and they really backed themselves. That's what they need to keep doing. Dinking it into the corner and coming off the line and trying to hurt this Kiwi side.
Jared Waria-Hargreaves trying to hurt Constant Villegas with that tackle.
Move, Adam!
Blair making that one, and Kane Bentley
Move, Adam!
makes some good yards for the French side, but that's 4 tackles gone. Bosque just steps back again, puts the kick in. That could be too strong. It is. Out on the full from Bosque. A rare error from the Dragons, number 6.
Plenty of time to get it away. They elected to go early in the tackle count as well. Didn't wait until the last. Such an important player, though, Thomas Bosque. He's had a tremendous couple of seasons with the Catalans, of course.
And the players just taking their time to pack down this scrum. It is a pretty humid evening.
All the way in, Adam, thanks.
Just like back in England, it is still really warm. Well, it's even warmer out here in Toulouse. Shirt sleeve weather. People sitting outside the cafes in the squares in Toulouse. Steve-O included. Kiwis on the attack with Soliola. Saints fans looking forward to the impact he's going to make next season. Leeds fans looking forward to the impact maybe Greg Eastwood will make.
He's 10, hold, go.
Eastwood slowly to his feet to play that ball. Big hits on Waria-Hargreaves, but he withstood that. An ooh from the French crowd below us at that impact. Here is Marshall. Marshall this time does put the kick in for Perrett. Perrett has knocked that one on.
Short.
Referee Shane Hayne, well positioned.
Well, they're going through the movements now.
Short of the line.
New Zealand realising
Scrum,
that you can catch him out of position. Beautiful kick through. Bobbling all over the place. Just couldn't get it. Got a fingertip in the first. Knock on. Well spotted by the official.
What do you think?
French, not surprisingly, taking it very slowly indeed.
Ken Bentley, the hooker's really had a go.
Yeah.
He's been dominant in defence. He's getting off the line. He's trying to inspire his teammates. I know this French side going into the last 10 minutes of this first half. They need to be really focused on what they do. They can't afford to give penalties away, and they can't afford to turn cheap ball over.
Ooh, problem there. Is it Steve Matai that's gone down?
A Kiwi player on all fours.
Clash of heads there.
And it was with the other Bentley, Andrew Bentley, just on the field. There are 2 Bentleys on the field, both of them wearing head guards. And Matai, if it is Matai, he's still on all fours, and the trainer is with him out of shot. The trainer has just signalled the bench that he's going to have to come off by the look of things.
Outside 40.
Kane Bentley puts the kick in. It's not a good one.
Watch his head.
Straight into the arms of Bryson Goodwin,
One.
son of Lord Ted Goodwin. Bryson Goodwin, the St George Australia hero of the 70s. So that's some pedigree. Bryson Goodwin qualifies through a New Zealand grandmother. Here he is, and meanwhile, Matai coming off the field. It looks like a blood injury as well. There's a towel pressed to his brow. So he obviously got caught right above the eye there.
Well,
Simon Mayhew, the doctor, just quickly on the scene for the
clash
Kiwis.
of heads, wasn't it?
Was it his own teammate?
I don't know whether it's a stray elbow from his teammate, Waria Hargreaves, I think. Either way, there's a lot of claret on display.
Here I am. Well done, hold. Hold!
But the Kiwis have the ball back. Eastwood.
Come on, Greg.
Here's Nathan Fien now. Fien across the field, and Marshall again steps away from the challenge, and this time he has got away. Goodwin, ball back on the inside, finds Marshall, like basketball for a moment from the Kiwis. Now it's with Lance Hahaya, and Hahaya was trying to offload that one as well.
Well, it's a problem out there on that right-hand side. The French outfit, James Wynne, the scrum half, he tries to hide way out there, and the Kiwis are picking him out. He came out of the line. Oh, what a take.
Perrott has caught that ball. Perrott's crossfield kick, looking for a teammate. And it's good work from Sam Perrott. They don't get the try, but they get another set of 6 because Wynne had to force that ball dead.
Johnny on the spot, just got back in time. It was great work, wasn't it, by Sam Perrott? Neat little chip through.
He was looking for Isaac Luke.
And I mentioned earlier, this out on that left-hand side, the New Zealanders, they're realising that it is a bit of a problem. Earlier to that, remember, James Wynne came out of the line, tried to cut down Benji Marshall. Once you leave him plenty of space, it's very difficult to stop him from scoring.
Jared Waria Hargreaves running that ball in strongly. This time last year, he was working at a Christian mission in Rwanda. And if he hadn't made this trip, he probably would have gone back there again to help out Jared Waria Hargreaves. He's on a very different mission this evening with the New Zealand side. As Eastwood plays the ball, Isaac Luke out there. Nathan Fien now, Marshall. They get it wide, looking for Goodwin, and Goodwin is collared by Wynne, but he just brushes him aside, but then puts the kick in, and it's not a good one. And France survive again. They'll be delighted if they can get to the half-time hooter with this scoreline intact, will the French. Few would have given them a prospect of being this close to the Kiwis, and a penalty awarded there will help.
Just getting a little bit frustrated, New Zealand in defence there. Trying to slow things down, well spotted by the official, Shane Hayne. Well, who would have thought it? Only 4 points separate these two sides. Just under 6 minutes remaining of the first half, and boy, wouldn't it lift their spirits and the crowd here if the French outfit could get over for another try.
Artie Sheed plays the ball, another one of the Kiwi contingent. He's been in France for seems like forever, Artie Sheed. Recalled to the side this evening.
Steve-o, I'm going to give a big rap to James Wynne. He's pushing his forwards in the middle of the park. He's directing his troops. He's waving his arms on, trying to organise things in the centre of the park now for this French side. And he's really standing up to him. He looks like he's getting caught short on the outside because he's pushing him in, and then he's coming in, and he didn't wrap up that tackle, but defensively he's been quite strong.
Well, here he is now, James Wynne, and trying to duck under that tackle. Plays his rugby league for the champion club of France, Lesignan. Bosque, little kick ahead. The ball is bobbling, and they're going to get another set of 6 here because there's no way for Junior Sa'u to go. This is great stuff from the French.
Certainly is. They've really taken it to them, haven't they? 2 early tries by New Zealand, and it's this man, Thomas Bosque, again. They allowed it to bounce. Anything can happen. Got back there in time, but that is wonderful, wonderful defence. See the backspin on the ball. It is always a problem. Good work by Junior Sa'u.
If they can keep this pressure up going up to half-time, there's only 5 minutes left that they've got to keep hold of the ball. They've got to keep turning the Kiwis around. They will come out in the second half full of confidence. Who will feel more under pressure in the second half? No one give France a cat and else chance of winning this game. The Kiwis will be the ones who'll be looking to force the ball and maybe force a few errors.
Well, it's France in possession with Julien Tuxegas. Bizarrely, the sides are supposed to be 1 to 17 this evening. He's wearing number 25.
3.
Big hit.
Pritchard took him apart.
You concentrate on playing football, Aaron.
Sab Martins, referee Shane Hayne is really chattering away to the Kiwis. Long ball out wide. Finds Nicholas Picamol. More by luck than judgment from Thomas Bosk.
Hold.
Picamol plays the ball. Here is Bosk now. Bosk back on the inside to Artie Sheed. Sheed was trying to offload that. Legs were lifted. The French appeal. Ellimer, arms raised. On the last now. James Wynn. Lovely little grubber kick, and Tuxagas trying to collar her higher. Collar him they do. They'll get another set of 6 here.
It's getting a bit tasty as well. They're getting very frustrated as well at New Zealand. And why not? The build-up there from the French outfit was superb.
Haya complaining that tackle was high, Steve-O, sorry.
Well, he did go above the shoulders. And this crowd, they are lifting yet again.
And that's a sign of frustration. The referee, Shane Hayne, has just said to the Kiwi players, concentrate on playing football, let me referee the game.
There's quite a few in black and white tonight, having a few words to say to the official.
And Olivier Ellimer returned from that successful forcing of the goal line dropout and looked to the crowd and waved his arms, urging them to join in, to lift the French spirits. Well, they must be feeling pretty good about themselves at the moment. They are only 4 points adrift here against a Kiwi side who was supposed to take him to pieces. But it's the French in possession. James Wynn now. Wynn to Sheed. And Sheed gets the ball away well to Olivier Ellimer. Ellimer, good offload to Teddy Sadoui.
Dominant 3.
So confident, aren't they? They're turning, twisting in the tackle. They've got good support. Where's the dummy runners? That's what they need to confuse the defence.
Andrew Bentley.
Alan, release. Here we are, Benji. Well done.
On that 10-metre line. Here is Wynn now. Wynn will take him on himself, almost through James Wynn. Just stumbled. That's the 5th tackle. What is Bosk going to come up with? Oh, the pass has forced him backwards. It was a terrible ball. And Bosk eventually puts the crossfield kick in, and that'll be easy for Peretz. Well, that was a shame that it ended up like that, but it was, I think it was Seb Martin's pass that flew over the head of Thomas Bosk.
Bobby Goulding would be very disappointed with that, but because they really needed a good pass so that Thomas Bosk could control the kick. As it turned out, he had a spin around. It finished up not as good as what they needed. Now they really have got to put themselves in a good defensive position. That's good play. Again, good play there from the dummy half.
Can the Kiwis reassert their authority just in the last minute or so of this game? They lead by 10 points to 6. Fufu Moi Moi. Another gasp from the crowd at the collision out there. Here's Isaac Luke. Luke scampering run. Keeps a hold of the ball despite French intervention. The pass from Luke goes to ground. It's back to 6, says the referee. There was a French hand in there. And Lance Haya will score in the corner. Will Shane Hayne go to the video ref? No doubt in his mind. Considerable doubt in the mind of the French coach as to how that ball came to be back in the hands of the New Zealanders. But Lance Haya didn't hang around to question that. Gets his 8th try for his country.
Well, surely there's a forward pass before this origin. That's the one. That is the one. To me, Moi Moi is passing that ball forward. Okay, a French hand touches it, but it was quite clear from what we see. Beautiful work, Isaac Luke, but that was going forward.
Does Andrew Bentley play for that ball, or the number 15
no,
for France?
I think the ball goes forward to start with.
Before it gets to Bentley?
Yeah, and to me that should have been picked up by the touch judge, at least on this short side. And it is, you could see the desperation on the face of the coach, Bobby Goulding, because he realises that they have given, or should I say the officials have given the Kiwis a get out of jail card with that.
And I don't think it was a French word that Mr. Goulding used there when he saw that decision.
Well, he's picked up the lingo very quickly.
Bryson Goodwin then with this conversion attempt. And the Kiwis will head for the dressing rooms, breathing a little bit easier after that. Might be fortunate. Goodwin successful with the conversion. And after a real struggle in this first half by a game French side, New Zealand are ahead by 16 points to 6.
Yes, game, as Bill Arthur quite rightly says. The French, well, they led last week, didn't they, at Doncaster against the English by 12 points to 4. And they looked as though they were going to turn around in a really good position against New Zealand in Toulouse tonight. But that last-minute try, right on the bell, means that they turn round at 16-6 down. But a tremendous first 40 minutes again from Bobby Goulding's team. Four Nations continuing live on Sky Sports. We're in Toulouse tonight. Next Saturday, we'll be at Huddersfield to see England take on New Zealand. It's a 5:45 start. 5:45 next Saturday, Sky Sports 1 and HD1. But half-time in Toulouse, in the south of France, and the French giving the New Zealanders a real fright. It was only the last-minute try in that first half that gave the scoreline a more respectable look as far as the world champions are concerned. They are ahead by 16 points to 6. We, of course, are here in Wigan. We have watched today England take on Australia, and we'll have highlights of that match for you from the Four Nations immediately the action is over and done with down there in Toulouse. But I say we because here in the studio I've got former Great Britain international Brian Carney and former Great Britain skipper, of course, Phil Clark here in the studio. I'm watching, Brian, a tremendous gutsy performance from the French.
Outstanding by the French. They showed us that the first half they gave last week was no fluke, and they've done the same. They've ripped in and they've come up with a very smart kicking game at the end of their sets of tackles, and they've caused a lot of problems for this New Zealand team who haven't started with anywhere near the intensity that they brought to the game last week against Australia. So it's been a very, very credible performance so far from the French.
It is indeed. I mean, do you think, Phil, that, you know, as far as the New Zealanders are concerned, they played Australia last week, perhaps they played a grand final a week before this, and they thought, well, it's only the French, they've had so much illness, so many injuries, a suspension thrown in as well. We only need to turn up down there in Toulouse and win it, and they've been given a fright.
I think it's very hard in rugby league to play at your best in 2 consecutive weeks, and we've seen that with every side, both here and in Australia. And I think there's an element of New Zealand not being at their best, but I've been so impressed by how France have played. It's a remarkable effort. They've fully justified their inclusion in this Four Nations tournament. Some people questioned beforehand whether they were good enough to be in it. I think that's now clearly been answered. And although Bobby Goulding's French may be rather limited, he's learnt, I think, a few words. Cours vite, plaque plus fort, run hard, tackle harder. And I think with that message, that's a simple message that these French players needed, and it's one that they've carried out to the letter.
Can you just go through that again for us?
Cours vite, plaque plus fort. I've done put a little bit of French on it. I think Bobby does it more with a Widnes type accent, but it's one that's certainly been effective for them.
OK, well, there's the message. That's what Bobby is going to be saying to his players in the dressing room right now. A tremendous first half from them. They just fell away in the last minute and conceded the try, but 16-6, not over yet. The French going well. Now, as well as the Four Nations, there is a European Nations tournament taking place, the European Cup live tomorrow, and Scotland take on Lebanon at 3 o'clock on Sky Sports 3 for a place in the final, and they will play, the winners of that will play the winners of this, Wales against Ireland, 5 o'clock Sky Sports 3, and we will have the whole of the afternoon for you from Pontypridd in South Wales tomorrow afternoon. Right now we are here in Wigan because we have watched England against Australia. Highlights of that coming up after the conclusion of this. France 6, New Zealand 16 in Toulouse, and the French giving the world champions a real fright in that first half. So all that's coming up. The match in Toulouse is about to get underway, the second half, in a few moments' time. In the meantime, we can just have a quick word in the studio here with Brian and Phil. Brian, the French, a great first half again. England only just passed their French test last week. I think the Kiwis will probably pass it again here tonight, but they've been given a real fright.
We'll hope that the French won't capitulate like they did last week. They really turned off in the second half, and this Kiwi outfit are going to have to try and raise their game because they know that they're going to come in for a really hard game against the English next week. So I would hope that the French could continue at this level of intensity, but I doubt it.
and plenty of local support there, Phil, by the looks of things, for this French team.
Well, I'm delighted. You know, I want to support French Rugby League. It's good to see them in this tournament. It's good to see them playing well in the tournament with some good support behind them. And some of these players really are playing well above the status that they've been at, really. Some of them only in the French domestic competition, and yet they haven't looked out of place against some world-class players.
OK, the referee's emerging, as you can see, so let's get back to the stadium in Toulouse. Terry, Steve-O, but first Bill.
And they've had a big season in Toulouse already in their championship campaign, Toulouse Olympique, and word with Carlos Alduendo, their chairman, earlier on today, that they're building for next season. They've signed Vincent Duport from Catalan Dragons. They're also apparently on the brink of signing Simon Worrell from the Leeds Rhinos, and that will be adding to their campaign next season in the championship. So Toulouse and Rugby League have got on pretty well so far this year, and the crowd here will be looking for more bravery from their side as the second half gets underway. 16-6, New Zealand ahead, and I think the bookmaking fraternity were expecting that it was going to be a lot more than that at this stage of the proceedings. And just a quick word with Richard Beck from the New Zealand camp at half-time. Just asked him whether it was a paint stripping job from Stephen Kearney, and he said Stephen Kearney doesn't do paint stripping. It was all pretty calm in the New Zealand dressing room, just telling them to get back to what they do best. And Fufu Moimoi certainly does that as he charges that ball up over the halfway line, but he's lost it, complaining that the ball was stolen, furious with that decision from Shane Hayne.
Well, that won't help their cause. Going to be a little bit more composure shown by the red hot favourites tonight. Leading with that forearm.
There's a hand in there. There's a Bentley hand in there.
Yeah, certainly just got the fingertips to it. Well, the look certainly went the Kiwis' way just before half-time when Lance O'Hire was allowed to go forward. To me, it definitely was a forward pass by the substitute Isaac Luke, but they've got a little bit of a rub of the green back. Can they build on this?
Tuxegas takes the tackle. It's the 10 points separating these two sides. There's one of the try scorers, Sebastian Martin. Kane Bentley. Kane Bentley has Andrew Bentley alongside him.
He's been impressive, hasn't he, the hooker? He really has worked his socks off.
Bosk. Here is Olivier Ellimer, the top try-scoring forward in Super League this past campaign. Had a magnificent season, Ollie Ellimer. And now assuming the captaincy of the French side. Bosk, little kick over the top. That's one for Vincent Duport to chase. They've made a mess of it, and France have come up with the try. But it's a video ref decision. First involvement of the evening for video ref Phil Bentham. Have France got the try?
Well, it certainly bobbled. It bobbled. Is it going to be given? That's the main thing.
It's Wynne who's chasing it. Tuxegas was there as well as it ricocheted. Comes off a Kiwi.
Oh, that's a try. James Wynne, I think it is going to be awarded this. It looked okay from a long distance. They'll get a closer look, of course. Here he comes. Oh, that's try time. They are back in it. As I say, they got the rub of the green. He's worked very hard indeed as James Wynne. And a real mess from the high kick from Thomas Bosk. It wasn't the best pass to him either.
Wynne's onside by the look of things. They're checking that again.
Oh, he's well and truly. And Soliola went up for it, made a real meal of it. And the halfback, James Wynne, surely will lift this crowd. They want to see where he is. Oh, he's well onside. No worries about that.
Phil Bentham, the video ref, having yet another look.
Well, the crowd here are giving the video referee the bird, and rightly so.
What can he be looking at there?
Well,
Tuxegas didn't take out Soliola.
Well,
Wynne gets the ball down.
I think you might think that Tuxegas may have touched the football. That's what they're looking at. Soliola certainly gets a fingertip to it. We know that, so that's a knock-on. But did Tuxegas then knock on? I don't think he did. I think this will be given to James Wynne. And listen to this crowd if it's awarded.
Phil Bentham, the video ref, has the decision in his hands. The try is awarded to James Wynne. He gets his third for France, the Aussie, now an adopted Frenchman. Plays for Lesignan. He followed up that kick, and again it was the boot of Bosc that did the damage. And Bosc now will look to add the extras, and what a start to the second half we have had.
Every time the ball goes in the air, you've got to make it a contest. You can see that Vakary, he called for that ball, he pointed to the corner. Thomas Bosc had a little look up, Vincent de Paul put some pressure on, and James Wynne scored the try.
Bosc successful with that conversion. France 12, New Zealand 16, the scoreline here at the Stade Ernest Wallon in Toulouse.
Tremendous stuff, wasn't it? A high kick, loose forward, Soliola made a real meal of it. Tuxegas not deemed to have touched it. The man that's the scrum half, James Wynne, certainly did. And listen to the whole crowd here. Luckily it went backwards.
Very nearly made a dreadful hash of that. James Wynne it was. Fortunately for him, Julian Tuxegas was there to gather the ball before the Kiwis could capitalise. But this Bobby Goulding side just will not go away.
And you look for a bit of direction off your coach at half-time, and all that Bobby would have said is, we want more of the same, exactly the same there, get wide of the tight free defenders and try and get those quick play the balls for Kane Bentley to exploit them.
And New Zealand can't get their hands on the ball. When they've had the ball, they've done damage. They just haven't had enough of it. And France have had plentiful possession.
Well, the Kiwis have shown that when they do control the ball and they get those quick play the balls, Thomas Luluwa has a right fielder in and around the ruck area.
Wynne goes for the 40-20, puts the kick, tried to put the kick over the head of Bryson Goodwin. It wasn't a good one. And here's Lance Hahaya, scorer of that try late on in the first half. But the chase is there to meet him. Elima trying to get to grips.
Offside mark is 14.
Referee calling them, just warning Elima that he was offside there, and Elima pulling away from the tackle.
And that's good refereeing, because all the fans want to see is good open play. And we've seen plenty of that tonight. And
Fufu Moi has got that ball away to Isaac Luke. Luke now scampering run from him. Really combative little player, Isaac Luke. Had a great set to with Paul Gallen last week. Running battle with the Aussie prop.
15's good. Shift.
Now, New Zealand on the attack with Junior Sau. That's the fifth tackle.
Here, hold, all the way. Hold.
Play the ball on that French 10-metre line. It's a poor pass. It's scooped up, and now it's with Benji Marshall. Fiends pass, finds Marshall. Marshall will take him on himself. It's a kick into the corner, and Marshall looks to the skies in anguish at that. He was just trying to dink it into the corner for Goodwin to chase, but he found the wrong side of the post.
And I must say that was good sliding defence as well by the French. Benji Marshall looked as though he was going to produce something. And it was a kick in the end, just a little bit too strong.
Okay, shortcutty.
Well, it was very shaky, the French defence in the opening 10 minutes, but they have really got themselves together. And full credit to Bobby Goulding, the coach. He's certainly worked hard with them, and they've got great respect, these players of Bobby Goulding.
That's one.
Teddy Sadoui, an outstanding first half from Teddy Sadoui, the Carcassonne player, used to play for Catalan Dragons. Here is Frederic Vakary.
Dominant two. Stand.
Vakary has done his chances a power of good. He's on the Catalan books as well. Hasn't had a look in really with Kevin Walters' side.
3. Move. Hold. Go.
Now the Kiwis looking to force the error, really putting the pressure on the French now. It's good defence from New Zealand, up in the face of Seb Martins.
Hold, Jared. Hold, Jared.
Tremendous stuff there. The French nowhere near the 20-metre line. Very disciplined as the Kiwi defence at the moment.
That's the fifth tackle, and Bosc puts the kick in. It's not a bad one either. It's over the top, and it's turned Sam Perrett around.
What he said.
Tremendous effort and a fine chase as well.
Perrett bounces off Andrew Bentley.
Move. Here's 10. Here it is. Shortened it. No.
Now then, French trying to put some big hits in themselves.
Here, good. Well done, 6.
Here's Bryson Goodwin. Goodwin up to the halfway line for New Zealand.
And again, a lot of good work by the two Bentleys. They really are putting themselves about. They have to as well, because it's good work by New Zealand.
There's
Quick
the
play ball.
debut boy, Ben Matalino, playing that ball quickly. That's what they need to do, New Zealand. Junior Sau is tackled. That's the fifth tackle. Bit more urgency about this set of 6 as Nathan Fien puts the kick in, but it's not a good one. And James Wynn is able to take that. Surrender, cries the referee as Wynn goes to ground.
It's all about reading the game well, and James Wynn knew exactly where that ball was going to be. He dropped out of the first line of defence, knew that the kick was coming. Not a fine game.
Vincent Deporte, good strong run from him. Now here goes Frederick Vacari. Vacari taking him on himself, not for long. Bold run from the winger there.
But really, his big forwards won't be wanting that play. They will want to get the ball as quick as they can to the centre of the field when they're bringing it away from their own line, because it opens up the options either left or right instead of just coming off the touchline.
Wynn puts the kick in, and they were very slow to close him down. He had bags of time to put the kick in the end. It wasn't the best from the France number 7.
But the speed of line in which French are chasing this kick, they seem to be really turning up. There's a real honesty in the way that they're working for each other.
I think New Zealand realised that they've been very, very surprised by the enthusiasm shown by the French. Remember, they capitulated against England in that second half. Perhaps mentally the New Zealanders are feeling, well, surely they'll do exactly the same. Not as yet.
Isaac Luke, Julian Tuxegas gets a hold of him. Fien.
That's fine, release him!
Release him, cries the referee as Fien hoists the kick. First time we've seen that one tonight, really, and across crumbs of Vacari to go for it. It's still on the last tackle. Moi Moi keeps the ball alive. They still keep it alive with Blair. Forward, cries the crowd, but Kiwis going backwards, so Lance Ahaya will hoist this one again. Nobody in French colours going for that one. A charge by Constant Villegas could be penalised by the referee, just took the Kiwi player out there. And in the end, France have the ball, but virtually on their own try line. So New Zealand have got something out of it. They've forced France right back onto their own try line.
Great work by Junior Sa'u, the centre. Came in, bang, good defence. Try to keep them down there. Got to be very careful now that they don't get out early, give away a penalty.
Kane Bentley continuing where he left off against the English last time out. Kane Bentley had an outstanding game against Tony Smith's side. He's been equally as impressive this evening. So is Jamil Fakir back on the field. Vincent Deporte on the last tackle. Not a good play from the French, and Fufu Moi Moi picks the ball up, lets it go again, picks it up once more, bounces off Julian Tuxegas, takes the tackle from Jamil Fakir. Referee says it's back to 0.
And the option after Jamel Fakir won that play the ball was to kick the ball as far downfield as you can instead of trying to chip it through to create a little chance.
They could pay the heavy price for that now, France, because they are struggling to make any headway since scoring that surprise try from James Wynn at the start of this second half. They have been under pressure, and the Kiwis looking to turn that pressure into some points here with Isaac Luke. Leisurely run from him. Then here's Lance Ahaya. Ball is out wide, and they are in for the try. And Perrett it is. Claims that one. And doing what the coach asked of them there. Kept it simple and effective.
Good solid work in the forwards, brought in the defence, and then a good link out wide on that right-hand side. Classic rugby league football. See how he comes on the arc. Beautiful pass. Nathan Fien back on the inside. Perrett knew he'd get towards the line. This is good work. Inside runner, just confused the defence. As soon as he got it, he knew he was going to get there.
This Kiwi side have got so many options, haven't they, Steve-O? They've got players running inside, outside, pushing up in support when the ball carrier is taking the ball to the line.
I think perhaps Stephen Kearney, the coach, realised that quite a lot of the players since the restart is that they're doing a little bit too much individual stuff rather than setting up and then getting the link between the two halfbacks. And we saw on that occasion that if they come on the angle, there's a beautiful position by the scrum half, Nathan Fien, and well finished as well by Perrett. So he'll be a lot happier, will Stephen Kearney.
He shouldn't take things
a little bit sloppy for certain periods throughout this game.
Bryson Goodwin then with this conversion attempt. Goodwin, who comes from Parkes in New South Wales, the place famous for the dish. And Goodwin, with this conversion attempt, favours his kicking style, left-footed round the corner, on target. And now then, can the Kiwis put this defiant French side away? They've put a bit of breathing space between themselves and this French team now.
Good work, Isaac Luke. He really is an industrial player, isn't he? He gets through work after work. Doesn't shirk it, that's for sure. That was well finished as well by Sam Perrett. Plenty of numbers there.
But again, this goes back to Vincent de Paul taking the wrong option. Instead of kicking it far down pitch as he can, off the big run from Jamil Fakir, that's what they've got to do. Keep turning this Kiwi side around. You can't give cheap field position, otherwise this Kiwi side will punish you.
But is it going to tell on this French team? It was okay when it was a France side made up of largely Catalan players who are full-timers on the back of a big Super League season. But now you're talking about who's just joined in, Christophe Molly, a Carcassonne player. You've got players who are out of season, who aren't as well conditioned maybe as those Catalan players. Is it going to start to tell on them now for France?
Well, you would think so, Bill, mainly due to the fact that, you know, the energy levels, they're not used to this speed in the Super League. And it showed last week against England that when they had to bring those players off the bench from the lower divisions, it certainly told.
Little kick from Nathan Feen into the corner. It's a good kick, collected. And the ball will somehow reach Jared Warrea-Hargreaves, who will flop over for his first try for the Kiwis. But how it came to him is some debate, and one that Phil Bentham, the video ref, is going to have to resolve, because a mix-up there as the kick went up from Feen, and the ball came to Jared Warrea-Hargreaves.
I think it's all right. They're all on side. Oh, maybe just in front. Is Eastwood just in front there now? Does he get within the 10 metres? I think you'll find that the big frame of Eastwood is in front. Now, if he goes anywhere near the 10, and he does, then this should be ruled out.
Well, that's Eastwood. And Warrea-Hargreaves, in fact, challenging for the ball.
Well, he's looking to see about the grounding, so it looks as though Phil Bentham seems okay with that, but surely Greg Eastwood has been within the 10 metres, so therefore that should be wiped out, unless Phil Bentham has decided that he was not offside and in front.
Well, the French are convinced that there was an offside player there.
Well, there's Eastwood. Hargreaves goes up, and then he finishes up. Well, he's been given.
Boos from the French crowd. The awarding of that try. And there is more daylight between these two sides, and the obstinate French team look a little bit dejected now. It's been a big effort from them, but it's starting to tell, you feel.
Well, you've got to say, Bill, whenever you play against a side, you don't want to be defending. You don't want to be defending on your own line. That's what saps the energy out of you. When you're trying to put down 17 and 18 stone fellas on the back, turn them over, that really does hurt you. If you control the ball, have a real good kick chase and be very disciplined, you've got a chance.
Bryson Goodwin, who took a bit of time to find his goal-kicking range this evening, but has been on target since then with this conversion attempt. Again, round the corner. The flags go up, and the Kiwis heading for their first victory in the Four Nations this autumn, ahead by 28 points to 12 now.
Well, if you look at the scoreboard, you'd perhaps be thinking that it's a little bit easy for him, but got to give a lot of credit to this French outfit. They've worked hard. A couple of dubious decisions appear to me as though they've gone against them, but
he didn't lose it.
You've got to take your chances, and the Kiwis certainly have done that. But I think we'd all have to agree that it is not the finesse that we saw last week against the Australians. We just have not seen this Kiwi side click like they did last weekend.
Well, Fufu Moi Moi and finesse aren't two words or three words or five words that go together.
Would you say that to him, Bill?
Yes. From a distance as I'm boarding the plane. That look forward, the crowd certainly thought so.
Well, we'll see now if the
marker.
Kiwis give it plenty of air, and first receiver standing a little bit out wide, and that's where the likes of Nathan Feen, Benji Marshall will control it. And again, I've been impressed with the man at dummy half, Isaac Luke. He's a tremendous player. That's a nice kick.
That's a good kick from Nathan Feen. The chase is on. Look at Benji Marshall. The French are dawdling. Marshall wasn't, and they'll get a goal line dropout out of this. And Vakary doesn't know what hit him there. He was just ambling back to cover that kick, and Benji Marshall came really herring in after it.
Plenty of pace. It was a beautiful kick by Nathan Feen.
Jamal, look at the 10, mate, still going.
And you can see that Vakary was wanting to flick the ball up to his full back, but he was well marked, wasn't he, by the New Zealand skipper, Benji Marshall.
Wait here, wait.
That's great pressure, isn't it?
Well, the Kiwis heading for a third successive victory in Toulouse now. They were 38-22 winners here in 2005, and they won 11-3 here in 1980.
Hold.
Well, this has taken some winning, this game. Not home and dry yet, still a quarter of it to go. But they've been made to work for it, certainly for the first hour here this evening.
It's
amazing. But now New Zealand looking really confident. It's starting to flow for them.
It's amazing every time you see that Moi Moi gets the possession. Watch with the arm. He gets the forearm right into the ribs.
Lancer Hire very close to a try there. They are over. And Nuasala, I think it is, who's got that one. Frank Paul Nuasala, the latest try scorer for the Kiwis, right under the posts. And the big man who got an impressive try against Australia last week on the scoreboard tonight.
And again, we see the dummy runners there, allowing Nathan Feen to get pretty close. And it's just sheer power, isn't it? Bang. Nothing is going to stop him there. Good build-up, though, by the New Zealanders. They'll be feeling a lot better about that. Somewhat slipshod with their handling and the coordination in the first 40. But they realise now that this French side is tiring.
And now when they're playing like they are, this Kiwi side, they're throwing the ball around, they're asking questions all the time, and the French are standing back and waiting for the plays to happen. They are not going forward and not trying to challenge them in defence, and Nuasala just dove over for quite an easy try. Obviously sapped a lot of energy out of this French side. Defensively, they've got to turn up and be stronger up the other end of the park.
As Goodwin adds 2 more points. A look of dejection on the face of Gregory Muniz there, one of the absent French players this evening. Dejected to see his side, a game performance from them, but New Zealand now disappearing into the distance, and the crowd who've been really behind the French team this evening a little bit subdued, but a great crowd it is as well. Great attendance here, 12,000, nearly 13,000 at the Stade Ernest Wallon this evening.
Well, OK, you look at the scoreline, I keep saying it time and time again, but they've got to start somewhere. And with the success of the Catalan Dragons, we know that the French side are getting better. Obviously, before long, Toulouse, oh, great break.
Lancer Hire carving his way through the middle, and Hire has him, people chasing him down. They're trying to get there, they might get there. No, Hire will win the foot race. Nicolas Picamol couldn't quite catch him. And the fullback, man of the match against the Aussies last time out, gets on the scoreboard, and Steve Matai, that left eye heavily bandaged, enjoyed that, what he saw of it anyway.
Well, just quick thinking, wasn't it? Through the dummy, pretty feeble defence, again, exceptionally tired. And he had the pace. Knew he was always going to get there. That's a fine effort from the fullback. Very tired. Just little hop, step, the skip, right the way through. Nice little change of direction. Nothing that Thomas Boss could do about that. And they are running away with it. The point that I was making, Bill, is the fact that this French outfit we talk about, you spoke earlier in regards to Toulouse coming into the lower divisions. You know, one day they'll be looking to make sure that they do get into Super League.
Goodwin, another success with the boot.
Lance Ohio is absolutely at a fielder. When he comes off the back of these play the balls, he looked up, he targeted Sebastian Martins and Andrew Bentley. They had no answer, they were stood flat-footed, they weren't going forward, and you can't do that when you play against a person like Lance Ohio. He will get out and he will try to disrupt you in and around the ruck. But last week, if you look at the way when France played against England, France had 3 tries, conceding 9-minute spell. In the second half, they've really switched off this opening 20 minutes.
Okay, what's he say?
Well, it was to be expected. And Stephen Kearney now, the Kiwi coach, will be quite happy to go through the set patterns of moves now. He realises it's going to be a big game next weekend at Huddersfield against England.
Just going back to Lance Ohaya, he's winning his 21st cap for the Kiwis this evening. He is on a bit of a roll internationally because he got a try against Australia last week. He got the man of the match. He got 2 tries in the World Cup final last year, of course. Kiwis, the world champions. And yet this side really much changed from the World Championship side. No obstruction, says the referee. 8 of their World Cup winning team unavailable for this one. And this is you've got to remember, of course, that this is a young Kiwi side. And that ball coming up for Greg Eastwood.
And now the Kiwis are starting to get the bounce of the ball. Things are starting to come off of them. Again, options, a little kick by Benji Marshall.
Perrett will go chasing after this. He's got it. He's got the ball. Oh, audacious pass and a try. Handing on a plate to Junior Sau. And Perrett unselfishly, well, he could easily have got to his feet and finished it off himself, but just a little flick of the wrist there from the wingman to his centre, setting up the try.
Well, we mentioned the fact of the set pattern moves, and that's what Stephen Kearney will be very happy with. The kick into the corner, Benji Marshall in full control. You can see the sliding defence with nobody around. Neat pass from Perrett. And Junior Sau would have enjoyed that. Ever since they appointed Benji Marshall as the captain of this Kiwi side, the responsibility has made him, to me, a far better team player. We know his quality individually. He's got great step, great hands, got good poise, good balance. But he knows how to play the team game now, and that was a tremendous kick into the corner.
Junior Sau, a try scorer against Australia last weekend, and an impressive game against Australia. He made the most carries for the Kiwis, he made the most metres, 103. And on the back of an impressive season for the Knights in the NRL, ever present for them. Bobby Goulding and one of his assistants, Stuart Wilkinson, just comparing notes down there. And the wheels have come off the French wagon as this game has gone on, and not surprising really, given the problems they faced in the build-up to this game, and on top of all the injuries and the absentees, as Goodwin lands an impressive conversion. He really has found his range this evening. They weren't even able to train on Wednesday because they're having so many problems with the injuries and the illness.
It's been a tremendous effort, and they should feel very, very proud of it. None of this French crowd here are on their way home. They want to get the full money's worth, the full 80 minutes. And I must say, you were saying that the wheels are falling off, Bill. I think you'd have to say that there's been a bit of a hole in the tank, drip, drip, drip. They've just completely run out of fuel.
Wheels falling off, they've got a leak in the fuel tank.
Can't go far with that.
The Kiwis really revved up though, they are firing on all cylinders. And like we say, we've got to go back to the fact that quite a few of these players are rookies as well internationally. This is a new experience for them.
Well, this is where you make a name for yourself on the international scene. Super League is that fast, the NRL is that fast. When you step up to play International Rugby League, the bar raises again. A lot of these players will want to go out there and make a real name for themselves.
Ooh, but
just as James Winders there, I don't think you want to pick a fight with Nuala.
No, not late in the game, that's for sure.
Luluai, Benji Marshall, a little kick ahead, a lovely little kick from Nathan Feen. They're queuing up for it, the Kiwis. It's Perrett who's got a hold of it.
Last one.
That's the 5th tackle.
All the way here, hold, go.
What will Feen try this time? Well, he went for a high kick across the field, and it's come up for Goodwin. Goodwin's got the ball away, but it's been picked up by Constant Villegas, and relief for the French because they have got the ball back. They've hardly seen it for a while.
And they're looking very, very ragged and tired, which is not surprising. They've had to go through a lot of work, especially in this second half.
Jared, move!
Well, they haven't thrown the towel in, that's for sure, especially this guy, and that's a knock-on.
And the Kiwis still as competitive as ever. They've forced the error that time from Nicholas Picamole. They're on a roll, this Kiwi side. They've drawn with Australia. They beat Tonga in their warm-up game when they picked up the Peter Charles Leach QSM trophy for that 40 points to 24 victory in Rotorua. But they've got their eyes on the Four Nations prize as well. They want to prove that that World Cup victory wasn't a fluke.
And another thing they've got their eyes on as well is they want to try and score as many points as possible, because it could very well come down to that as to who makes the final.
Well, Benji Marshall, a weaving run across the field from him, shows the ball, does find Perrett. Perrett taking him on, great tackle. Defensive commitment till the end from the French. And plaudits all round for that. Elima leading by example.
Well, a bit of magic, wasn't it, by Benji Marshall? Showed the ball, spinning back on the inside, accelerated away, but full credit. How on earth they got over there in time after they've been split apart by ease, actually. But it looked as though it was going through to it there, but it was a tremendous effort, wasn't it? Oliver Elima, he's worked hard throughout. They all have. They should be very proud of it. Let's not forget, they are playing against the world champion, as you mentioned, Bill.
Wynne copped one there, and he went down in the tackle. Nathan Feen protesting his innocence. His opposite number, James Wynne, not convinced. He's back on his feet, ready to play the ball. Says, I'm all right.
Get closer, get closer. Right here.
Time back on. Here's Jamil Fakir. Big start to the game, but he's lost that ball. It's gone backwards. It's back to 6, says the referee. There was a Kiwi hand in there.
They've got to make sure they really do control this ball now. The Kiwis are really getting off the line. They're trying to pressure the French. The French are tired, so they've got to have real tight grip.
Well, they're keeping this alive, and the crowd liking this. Olivier Elima trying to take him on his own.
That was a high shot as well. He caught one fair and square across the bridge of the nose.
Matthew Griffey saw it, didn't like it. It's all on now. Well, France and New Zealand haven't always seen eye to eye, not just in matters rugby league. And Matthew Griffey had a good view of that shot on Olivier Elima, a better view than the touch judge obviously did.
Well, it was a high tackle, and why it was not taken care of by the official is anybody's guess. Here it comes, bang.
10 for France.
Straight
coming in.
And just for good measure, there was a follow-up shot from Ben Matuliina.
Not after the high tackle, no.
Well, it was Nathan Feen, I feel.
Number 10.
I'm not sure if it was that bad, those people. It come off his shoulder first of all.
No, I don't. If it finishes up in the face, right? You can see it, Elima Winch.
Yeah.
It wasn't a mosquito that went
he had
out
something
there.
in there on the ground. You don't need to run in because
Do you not think Oliver Elima was a bit
That's all I got.
him?
Okay, for him running in. All right, that's sweet now. Number 7. Where is he? Yep. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all.
Shane Hayne
Just listen.
laying down the law.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Nathan
High tackle,
Feen
contact
will,
with the head, nothing more than that.
Okay. In the initial
have
contact.
a talking to as well for the high shot.
Time on.
And it's all sorted out. And France get the penalty that they initially deserved.
Do you know what I'm really looking forward to? Who's going to take this ball up for this French side?
And didn't it lift the crowd?
Well,
Here
tell you
it comes.
what, they haven't shirked it tonight.
No.
And they give it to one of the smallest guys out there, James Wynne. And in the end, it's...
You must be kidding. He'll pass it straight off to Bentley.
Well, he's not much bigger. But now it's with Romain Gagliazzo. The longest serving player in this French side, Romain Gagliazzo, made his debut against Morocco back in 1999. France still defiant to the end, this French side. Can they get more points on the board? They've really been taken to the cleaners in this second half. It started so well for them with that James Wynne try, but since then New Zealand have controlled it. But can France at least finish off on a high note? Still, of course, 12 minutes to go here. A lot more damage for New Zealand to do. Big hit on Christophe Molly. Mukakis on player felt that. Takes a bit of time to get to his feet. Wynne steps out of trouble, puts the kick in. Not a good one, and it's taken easily by Isaac Luke.
Great position by the substitute, Luke. The kick was coming, put under a lot of pressure. Now then, can the French keep them down? the Kiwis from getting over to at least the halfway line.
Stand, 2.
Can they even force an error, Steve-O?
2, 3. Move!
France trying to restrict the Kiwis' progress.
4.
There's Ben Matulino, this debutant from the New Zealand Warriors. He was New Zealand's Young Player of the Year back in 2007 and as a product of the National Youth Competition, which is just starting to show some sort of success now. Matulino has come through that. Jared Waerea-Hargreaves as well in New Zealand. And Constant Villegas looks up and wonders what the heck that was.
He's down. He's just dropped and collapsed there.
And it was Thomas Luluai who was in there.
Well, he's gone along the Kiwi line looking for someone to run at. He's picked the smallest guy who's got right underneath him and put a right shot on him.
It's a key factor, isn't it, for Stephen Kearney, the coach, in as much that I thought the first 15 minutes Thomas Luluai was outstanding, and then when he has the ability to bring off the bench Isaac Luke, it's a good combination and they work exceptionally well.
And they're always going to ask you a lot of questions around that ruck earlier, Steve-O.
Just a pause in play while Constant Villegas leaves the field. Apart from getting big hits, well, he's not, in fact. He's taken his station on the wing, and thumbs up from him. He also had a touch of cramp as well. Win, little chip kick ahead, not a good one. Straight into the arms of Frank Paul Nu'uausala.
Here's 10, hold, go.
Well, it's hard to say whether the prop forward was just having a bit of a rest or whether he read the game exceptionally well.
You've got to say he read that well, Steve-O. Come on.
Yeah, well, the wrecking ball.
Out the back, still 2.
Here is Lance Ahaya again, looking to put the step on the tiring French defenders up the middle of the field. They didn't fall for it that time. Here is Frank Paul, the wrecking ball. What a great nickname that is to have. Frank Paul, the wrecking ball. And he's done that tonight. Another try for him among the try scorers. Ahaya and Perrett have both got a brace each, and Perrett will be looking for a hat-trick, but this time Junior Sa'u has come back in field and still going, the big man. That's the 5th tackle as Junior Sa'u plays it. Nathan Fien, this time a little grub kick in. Isaac Luke is chasing, the ball is loose, and Jared Waerea-Hargreaves flops on it. Has he got his second try of the night? Did the Kiwis knock it on?
Yes.
But another wicked kick from Nathan Fien. France couldn't deal with it.
His control things, Annie, with the short game and the long kicking game as well. Nathan Fien looks okay. Like Isaac Luke was just level with him, and that's the man that gets interfered with. James Wynne and Waerea-Hargreaves.
Oh, I think Isaac Luke's knocked that ball on.
Yeah, this will be no try. But Stephen Kearney will be very pleased with the control of the kicking game tonight, especially in the second half. This guy really has picked him out time and time again, that it's and applied that pressure. It's a good kick, but to me, Luke has got fingertips to this. Yes, he has. It's knock on. Should be no try.
The crowd has spotted that. Has the video ref Phil Bentham? That's the question. Just having a look there at that point of contact.
Yeah, it looks quite clear.
James Wynne is the man going in to challenge.
It's a hand
go back
from
to
Isaac
kick,
Luke.
mate.
Well, I think this should be turned down. But I am not the video referee. This is the
What are we doing?
result. He wants to have another look. Well,
That's Isaac Luke's
That's
hand.
come off Isaac Luke's hand, that.
It's quite clear to me.
It's short line, so it's change over. Scrum, is it? Scrum. Right.
Just wants to know how to restart the game.
Jared Waerea-Hargreaves is surely going to be denied this try, as Shane Hayne just waits patiently for some communication.
It's coming up.
So just checking, because he just feeling a little bit self-conscious, standing there with the eyes of the world looking at him and nobody making a decision. And the try has been refused, and it will be the scrum in favour of the French. So let off for them there.
That is how dangerous though this Kiwi side are. When they get the ball, they take it to the line, they can change the tempo of the run. Bobby Golding and Stuart Wilkinson there in your screen. Thinking that if only that 20-minute spell in the first part of the second half, if they only would have switched on and come out a lot stronger. But you've got to credit the way this Kiwi side started this second half.
Into the last 10 minutes of the game now. And it's a weary-looking French team. Not so the New Zealanders. Still looking pretty fresh.
He's had
Kane Bentley.
He's had a wow of a game, this fella. He was the same last week against England. He really was, especially in the first half, a real thorn in the England camp.
Artie Sheed takes the tackle, no favours from his fellow Kiwis for Artie Sheed, the Limu prop forward. They've kept this ball alive. That's the 5th tackle though, they're still inside their own 40. And Ellimer, I think it is, has got the knock.
Nothing in that, mate. That's all.
So play is halted again. And the physio is on. Just fell awkwardly, I think.
Yeah,
he's,
just on the shoulder.
Landed on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Although his head he's holding. Or no, I think it's the shoulder that's the problem.
Just wait, just wait.
He's worked hard as a captain, hasn't he? It's, they've certainly give a good display, and I don't think anybody here or you viewers at home who are watching this can deny that New Zealand are a good side.
To borrow a French expression, the referee has called that pass forward, and it'll be the turnover in an unfavourable part of the field for the French.
Play the ball over there. Play the ball.
Oh,
Play the ball.
Slightly.
Tell you what, Olivier Ellimer's English is very good from his time playing in the UK with Wakefield, of course. Very good. New Zealand have the ball.
The Kiwis know that they've got to get more points. They've really got to stretch it, take an advantage on the table, and that's a grapple tackle.
And I think that was frustration from the French captain, Artie Sheed, in there as well.
What are you doing? Go.
Just a tap, that's what they want to do. They want to get another try at least.
That's one. Move!
Here is Eastwood.
Hold, go.
Frank Paul Nuasala, and he's escaped the clutches of the first line of defence, almost through the second. France right back on their own try line. Luluai calling the shots, goes right. Fien is immediately under pressure, but Perrett, is he in for his hat-trick? He is. Sam Perrett finishes that one off, makes it 3, and that French indiscipline is punished in the corner again, where they've done a lot of that damage.
He's had a big game, the winger, Sam Perrett. Remember, 3 tries he scored himself and created 2. That's not a bad effort. It had to be scored as well, and he has this amazing ability to step like that, and has the upper strength to force his way over. None of his tries have been easy, and none of the conversions by this fella, Bryson Goodwin, has been easy either. Can he tag it on?
There's a lot more purpose in the runs by this Kiwi side. Nuasala took the ball, he run really hard, pulled in some of the French defenders, and a lot of the tries have been scored on the edges, apart from a couple of breaks up the middle of the park by Lance Ohio, by the likes of Thomas Luluai, on the back of real quick play of the balls. But again, looking at that scoreboard, you would think this French side have absolutely been trounced. On the scoreboard they have, but not in actually the 80 minutes of rugby league.
Goodwin then with this conversion attempt, and Sam Perrett in actual fact has been named as the sponsors man of the match here this evening for his performance on the wing. 3 tries. Goodwin has missed with that effort, but the Kiwis are racking up the points now, boosting their points difference, which, as Steve-O said, could be a crucial factor late on in this tournament.
But again, you can just see the French are standing back. You can't defend your own line. Pettit goes in for the try, and he has worked really hard on that right-hand side for this Kiwi side. But the platform in the second half has been led by the big fellas up the middle of the park.
But France will think what might have been, you know, if you look at this performance and then add the likes of Ferriol and Bale and Ragan and Casti, and of course Clint Greenshields.
And a lot of individuals though as well, Bill, have really played well. I've been really impressed with Kane Bentley. He doesn't deserve to be on the losing side tonight. He's putting some real big shots, and he's always asked questions when he's had the ball in hand.
And his elder brother Andrew hasn't done his prospects any harm either. Good performance from him.
And I think the French have got back something that they lost in the World Cup. They were woeful, to be precise, and they've got a lot of pride back into it. And let's give a lot of credit as well to Bobby Goulding. I was talking to quite a few of the French players, and they were saying, you know, he really has revved them up. He's given that they respect him, and fair play to the boy.
Chip kick ahead, another kick ahead from Frank Pritchard. The chasers are there. And they've got another try, or have they? Bryson Goodwin claiming that one. Stephen Kearney and Tony Iro alongside him. Unfazed by that, Kearney. A smile on the face of the Kiwi coach, as it looks as though his team have come up with some more points here. But were they onside?
I think they were. You could see that Nathan Feen, who's had a tremendous second half.
It's that kick ahead from Frank Pritchard as well that they're looking at.
I think he's okay. But Stephen Kearney will be very happy with the combination of the two halfbacks, Benji Marshall, Nathan Feen. And it really has set it up for next weekend against England at Huddersfield. That'll be a cracker.
But that in itself is a real discipline, to stay onside, not be tempted by going offside. The little kick ahead. Just checking for the ground in here.
Yeah, that's fine. Bryson Goodwin gets the downward pressure.
Still looking at that onside, offside. There's the first kick from Feen. Then it comes down to the feet of Frank Pritchard. Nice little volley there.
And Goodwin's behind him. It's quite clear there. Surely this is an easy one for Phil Bentham. Try time.
Not convinced, Steve-O.
Well, I'm not so sure what the problem is.
Is it the downward pressure?
Yeah.
I think Goodwin gets this down okay. What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that at all, Mr. Bentham.
Gets his third try for the Kiwis. The West Tigers man. The Canterbury Bulldogs man, I beg your pardon, Goodwin. And he gets the try.
There's confirmation. ESSAI.
Oh no, we're not going to have that next season as well, are we? You're not going to do it bilingually?
No.
We'll be there all night. You and French.
Say again, mate, sorry.
What's the word for a referee?
Yeah.
Don't push your luck, Bill.
Arbitre, isn't it?
Hey. Impressive. Not so impressive for the Kiwis is the news that Steve Matai, who we saw going off in the first half with an eye injury, well, in actual fact, he's going to hospital to have that examined. So that is a concern for Stephen Kearney, but there's not a lot else for the New Zealand coach to be anxious about. He's of course signed on for another 4 years with the Kiwis to take them through to the 2013 World Cup.
Well, the smiles are out now by Stephen Kearney, but this is what the Kiwis do. They anticipate every little breakdown in play. And you can see that Goodwin just goes in for a simple try. But this Kiwi side have come out in the second half. They've been prepared to play rugby. They've been prepared to roll the sleeves up and do all the real hard work, defending and taking the ball back strongly.
Well, inside the last 5 minutes now, 56-12. That's more like the scoreline that a lot of people were anticipating here this evening. Well, in fact, I think they were anticipating when they saw this French side, heard about the French problems, they were probably anticipating something even bigger than that. Kiwis have lost the ball there.
It's a cruel game, isn't it? All the hard work that this French side have put in, turning up the honesty in defence, working for each other, trying to control this big dominant Kiwi side, and then coming up with a scoreboard like that. It's a cruel game.
That's one.
And Bobby Goulding will probably be a bit tired of saying, yes, I'm proud of the effort of my side. Still looking for his first win as France coach.
He lost that ball, but it went backwards. Not seen by the officials. Said it's okay.
Shift.
Christophe Molly now. Molly, one of the players brought into the team because of all these absentees. He plays the ball. Kane Bentley will short pass, put his teammate under pressure. James Wynn it was. Another impressive performance from the 33-year-old Wynn.
Well, the French are desperate to get over the try line, but of course Stephen Kearney will be bitterly disappointed if they concede a try. They're in full control.
Bosc hoists that ball, and Haya came and he claimed that one. That was his all the way.
There was only one winner for that ball, Lance Ohio. He put his targets up. He looked where that ball was coming. He just put his arms up and was just prepared to jump and take any tackle that was coming.
Here is Thomas Luluai, the only Super League player in the Kiwi colours. Isaac Luke, well, of course, Soliola will be a Super League player next season, but in the meantime, the Kiwis, the clock ticking away. Have they got a few more points in the bag? Again, the kick. Again, Perrett's on the end of it. Perrett, will he claim 4? Bounces off the first. No, ball back in field to Nathan Feen. Feen fancies his chances. Feen gets the pass away, and they are in. And it's Jared Waerea-Hargreaves who rounds off the win. The 20-year-old who made his mark against the Aussies last week with a big hit on Sam Thaiday. Thaiday didn't know what day of the week it was. And Waerea-Hargreaves gets the try. And the Kiwis satisfied with the night's work.
Keeping the ball alive, it's against a very, very depleted and tired defence. But full credit to them. And that's a good effort. Hargreaves. He's worked hard, hasn't he? He's been impressive, Nathan Feen. So the fullback, Lance Ohio. Sam Perrett, of course. Three tries, created 2. And that's more than that. A nice smile on the face of Stephen Kearney. But he knows it's going to be oh so different. Don't miss next week. That I am looking forward to.
Could it have been different, Steve-O, with the French side if they would have had Casey Maguire, Adam Mogg, Greenshields, Ferriol, Guisset and Casti? That's a massive loss for them, especially in the forwards, because you've got to be strong and you've got to stand up to what this Kiwi throw at you. And in the second half, they've just been too strong.
They stood up to it in the first all right, but they've been rocked back in the second half. Goodwin rounds off a convincing performance. 62 points to 12, the scoreline in favour of Stephen Kearney's side. They get their first win of the Four Nations in emphatic style in the end. 62-12 it was, but the French made them work all the way.